And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called a freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just...
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now... it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross.
Brittney Griner just hit a new low, melting down after Stephen A. Smith torched her on live TV. After Griner tried to stir up drama by playing the race card over crowd noise, and Caitlin Clark, Stephen A. delivered a savage reality check that brought up everything Griner wished the world would forget, including her rescue from Russian prison. The aftermath was pure chaos, with Griner losing control in front of millions. Was it more humiliating to be called out for her comments, or to be reminded again of her past? Either way, the whole thing quickly became the most talked about moment of her career, a career now defined as much by controversy as by basketball. Watching it unfold, you could tell Griner had no idea how to handle the backlash once Stephen A. decided to set the record straight.
First things first. Respectfully, Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America, on home soil, would not have too much to complain about, especially something like this. Fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena.
Let's break down what really happened, because it matters. In a recent interview, Griner complained about the noise and hype that Caitlin Clark brought to the WNBA, zeroing in on a father and daughter in the stands. Instead of seeing fans just loving the game, Griner jumped straight to accusing them of light racism. That phrase set the internet on fire. Imagine one of the league's top players looking at excited fans and assuming the worst. It was that sense of victimhood, that rush to see something sinister in cheers, that Stephen A. Smith just couldn't let slide. The narrative went from basketball to accusation in a heartbeat, and Griner instantly found herself at the center of a storm.
Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. She says WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now, it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. You are!
When Stephen A. got word of Griner's accusations, he wasted no time putting things into perspective. He reminded everyone, loud and clear, that Griner only made it back to the WNBA after an international prisoner swap, one so serious it involved trading Victor Bout, the Merchant of Death, for her release. The government went to extraordinary lengths to bring her home, and now here she was, complaining about loud fans. To many, it sounded completely out of touch, especially coming from someone who knows what true hardship and real danger look like. Stephen A.'s reminder was brutal but honest, exposing the disconnect between Griner's complaints and her actual life experience.
So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out. For her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing. I'll leave it at that.
Stephen A. Smith's takedown wasn't just a hot take, it was a tidal wave, and Griner was right in its path. He held nothing back, pointing out the wild contrast between someone who'd been locked away overseas, fighting for basic rights, and that same person now complaining about excited basketball fans. The message was clear: freedom isn't guaranteed, and being back on the court should be a reason to celebrate, not a reason to gripe about noise. Even Griner's most loyal defenders had trouble justifying her comments, but instead of pausing to reflect, Griner went on the offensive. She didn't try to find middle ground. Instead, she fired back at Stephen A., labeling him out of touch and dismissing his arguments as clueless. She doubled down on social media, posting rants and painting herself as misunderstood, insisting nobody could understand what she'd been through. The backlash was instant. Clips of the argument dominated every feed, with fans and commentators picking sides. Some said Griner was just overwhelmed. Others called it a classic case of refusing to face hard truths. For anyone watching, it was obvious. Rather than addressing the criticism head-on, Griner let emotion take the wheel, fueling a viral feud that only made things worse. The spectacle was so dramatic, even her supporters were left shaking their heads, wondering why she'd chosen to fight instead of simply listening and moving forward. In the end, the meltdown said more about Griner's unwillingness to handle criticism than it did about any supposed ignorance from Stephen A.
So now,
okay, guy.
while this is taking place, Brittney Griner comes out and says, I am so sick and tired of the WNBA. It used to be a peaceful, small little thing. Now there's crowds screaming, hollering. This is disruptive. It's not allowing us to play the game. This is her quote. I don't know if you saw this or not when she gave that. Okay. Can you pull up that quote?
But here's the wild twist. The more Brittney Griner tried to silence the crowd and shift the conversation, the louder things got, and not in a good way. Her complaints about fan noise didn't just echo around the arena. They exploded across sports media, talk radio, and social feeds. Overnight, the story wasn't about basketball, but about Griner's latest controversy. It was her reaction more than any fan's cheer that drowned out everything else. Stephen A. Smith zeroed in on the real disconnect. In pro sports, the fans are the heartbeat, the soundtrack, the entire reason the league exists. They buy the jerseys, fill the seats, and create the home court magic that every athlete claims to love. Until now, Griner, instead of seeing crowd enthusiasm as a reward for years of hard work in women's basketball, treated it like an inconvenience. That single attitude shift put her on the outside looking in, at a time when every other major athlete, from LeBron to Mahomes to Megan Rapinoe, knows fan energy is fuel, not a threat. What stung most wasn't just the tone deafness, but how her light racism comment about excited families in the stands rewrote the entire conversation. Instead of starting a real nuanced talk about race or player experience, Griner's words came off as defensive, almost desperate, and many fans, especially the new ones, felt attacked for simply showing up and caring. She was painted as someone looking for problems, not progress. And the backlash from media, former players, and even some current WNBA stars was immediate and sharp. For a league desperate to turn new eyes into lifelong supporters, it was a nightmare.
How can you say, I'm sitting there and people are yelling, thousands of people, it's distracting? You're playing basketball in an arena. It doesn't make sense, Tom. They're doomed. They're doomed, and good for them. And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts. Okay, if you want fans, if you want your league to grow, act like a professional, okay? The league already started underwater, and instead of fixing it, they're just poking more holes in the boat. And think about it, Brittney Griner talking all that trash. We traded the merchant of death for your ass, and you're out there talking shit and saying racist shit on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting.
And Griner's response. Rather than stepping back and reconsidering, she kept escalating, post after post on social media, playing the victim, refusing to take even a breath of accountability. Instead of letting the storm pass, she fueled it. Every defensive tweet, every nobody understands me post kept the story burning and drew even more critics to the fire. The league, meanwhile, stayed silent, no one lining up to defend her, not even her closest teammates. For casual fans, fans just discovering the WNBA through the Caitlin Clark wave. This looked like a superstar in meltdown mode, unable to handle a little heat after years spent in the safe zone. Stephen A kept it professional and on point. He didn't go after her as a person, but instead challenged her approach, her understanding of what it means to be a superstar in today's sports landscape. He pointed out that every major league is filled with passionate, sometimes hostile fans, and that's part of what makes the challenge great.
And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts. Okay, if you want fans, if you want your league to grow, act like a professional, okay? The league already started underwater, and instead of fixing it, they're just poking more holes in the boat. And think about it, Brittney Griner talking all that trash. We traded the merchant of death for your ass, and you're out there talking shit and saying racist shit on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting.
NBA stars hear worse every night and turn it into motivation. Soccer players face entire stadiums roaring against them and rise above it. Griner's failure to embrace the moment and her decision to make fans the enemy became a viral case study in how not to handle the spotlight. The meltdown also exposed a bigger issue. For years, the WNBA had been comfortable flying under the radar with low stakes and minimal media scrutiny. Now, with the league finally on the big stage, Griner's reaction proved some stars aren't ready for prime time. Her complaints, her racial accusation, and her refusal to own the moment risked alienating the exact fan base that's fueling the WNBA's growth. While Caitlin Clark and others are showing how to take the pressure and turn it into stardom, Griner's saga is now a warning sign about what happens when you see the fans and the attention not as a gift but as a problem. In the end, Griner's collapse was more than just a single athlete's bad day. It was a lesson for every player, every coach, and every league exec. Real stars step up, take criticism, and use it to get better. They don't run from the noise, they rise above it. Griner's meltdown and her refusal to see the bigger picture turned what should have been a blip into the defining narrative of her season and maybe her career. Stephen A. Smith didn't have to get personal because Griner's own words made his case for him, and in a sports world hungry for heroes, this was the moment she proved, for now, she's not ready to lead.